everybody. This is Free Candy, episode number 4.
Dope.
And we are excited to have with us the one and only Sawdog Betos.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Say hi to the friends. Just off to the screen, he's got football playing, so he's not missing anything.
Yeah.
It's Sunday.
Gotta stay live.
It's a beautiful Sunday in Boise. And this is a particularly exciting episode because we're bringing Josh's expertise to people. Hopefully we can teach something that's like real. And besides just goofing around, there's going to be some cool stuff happening.
Well, we're still going to goof around a little bit, I hope.
100%.
Okay.
Small amount.
So with that, we are
About as small
at...
as this glass.
Hey, maybe take it away, Josh. Tell them where we're at, what we're doing.
Sweet, yeah.
Do I
So
need to get my own drink for the sake of just having something to drink while this is going on?
You don't have to, but it's advised.
You look a little ridiculous.
What do
You
have?
can drink these,
I got
too,
the
if you
IPA.
But like just the little one right there?
Oh, I got a man one.
Oh, it's coming up or what? Is it over by you?
Oh, he's
It's
drinking
here,
it.
yeah. I've been sipping on
I
it
see.
from time to time.
Okay.
Would you like to try it?
Sure.
Richard's not going to like it.
Not
Well,
an
maybe,
IPA
I don't
guy,
know.
huh?
Go
Based on
ahead.
my
Go ahead,
knowledge of
Josh.
you. Yeah, so right now we're at Clairvoyant Brewing in Boise, Idaho.
I wouldn't order my own.
Yeah, nailed it. We're at Clairvoyant Brewing in Boise, Idaho. Friendly little neighborhood bar brewing company. Recently opened. I think they're just barely over a year old. I think they had their year anniversary party the other week. So barely over a year old, making great beers. Smaller system, I think it's a 7-barrel. I don't know exactly. I haven't poked around, but that's what I think. That's what I am guessing. But we're here specifically to talk with each other, but mostly with my insight on how different beer styles kind of reflect the person or reflect the consumer that's ordering them.
Yeah, and here's how this became the topic of why we're doing it. So I text Josh because Josh is a marketing director for Boise Brewing, so it's confusing why we're here, not there, but that's fine.
Spread the love.
Spread the love.
Hey,
And
rising tide
he
lifts all boats.
he knows a lot about beer, and so I texted him one time. A friend wanted me to bring some sort of craft beer to an event. We were going to the hot springs, and I just was looking for a brief little tip. And like, here, buy that, and that's it. And so he sent me like a novel in text that was, if you're this kind of person, this is what you bring. And if you bring one of these, this is what it says about you. And it just went from there. I'm like, wow, this is a whole stump speech that it's an interesting language. And so Josh is going to teach us that language today.
Well, we're going to barely touch the surface.
Fine.
This is like a semester-long course where
and
you have
Sawyer
to
is
get
an
really
expert in the consumption of all things alcohol.
of consumption.
I'm a pro consumer.
So
Consumer.
Sawyer's also just a guy with a lot of good ideas and fun topic, and he's fun to talk to. I think he's hilarious. So we'll just get some who knows what from Sawyer as well today. And there's music
hopefully.
in the background, so you could just be listening to the music at work while you listen to this podcast.
Maybe you get annoyed of us, and you can just tune into this.
Yeah.
So you get both in this one podcast. It's amazing.
Where do you want to go? You want to jump right into it? We've got 4 little
we can.
beers
Let's dive into
right
it.
in front of us.
Hey, what does my drink say about me?
Oh, okay.
I want to dive right
Well, so
in.
I got the IPA too, so as part of the tasters. I don't know if you probably can't see from the camera, maybe, but I've got. Let's see if I can reach in. Oh, we can
Steadily
barely
moving.
barely see it, but
Oh,
we've
there we
got
go. That's probably smarter.
perfect. You can kind of see most of it there.
Bing.
So yeah, we've got 4 different beer styles that are kind of across the board-ish. Obviously, beer in and of itself is a really huge industry right now. Like, there are a bunch of different guidelines that you can go off of. Like the BJCP, the Beer Judge Certification Program, has the most styles, is kind of like the style guidebook for everything. And I think there are like...
The Beer Judge Certification Program.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Is
that...
the beer judge the same judge who likes beer?
Yeah.
Is Kavanaugh the
Sounds
beer
like
judge?
a program I need to be.
Yeah. No, really, you can get Beer Judge certified, and that's where you go to judge.
I made
like-
a weak joke about Kavanaugh being the beer judge.
Oh yeah, no,
So
I
it just-
didn't laugh. It's okay.
Moving right on.
We're gonna go right over
Hindsight
that.
2020. I like that. Good joke.
Clever. But so I guess that actually brings up a whole new point. But anyways, I don't know. I'm not gonna even put out a number so I don't sound like an idiot. But There are a lot. Over 100
styles.
of styles, yeah.
Okay.
So,
We've got 4 of them today, so that should cover it.
yeah, right. It's exactly, which is why, like, you have to go to, like, a beer bar specific to get any number of stuff. Because it's, like, sub-styles, right? So within IPA, you've got your IPA, you've got your New England style IPA, hazy IPA, Imperial, double IPA, triple IPA, session IPA, like, and those are all technically different styles, but it's one beer-ish.
Okay.
So that's kind of why there are so many. But,
So before we get into
yeah, I was gonna say-
I will ask you more about that little flow chart later. How
Yeah.
you arrive at what a beer is.
Yeah.
Let's do something entertaining. Talk about the 4
entertaining.
that we got
oh,
here.
cool, yeah, so entertainment. So, here,
Oh, cool.
yeah, people want to get
Switching
entertained.
angles here.
People want to be entertained. I
We've got
forgot
beer in
about
front
that.
of us. Everyone's
Yeah.
dying to know what's in it.
The different beers. So the first beer I've got is a Bohemian style Pilsner. So this is. It's good. I'll let you try it too. So this is. Pilsner is kind of an old world styled beer. Invented. Shit, I need to know more about my history, but invented a while back.
No one cares. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Czech invention. So it was all basically it's light. It's got like a Pilsner bite to it, is how I describe it. It's it's used mostly Pilsner malt, so it's a different way of roasting it. But then it's got. Yeah, like I said, the Pilsner bite is how I
Okay, so
like to
Sadak,
describe
how would
it.
you describe this? Are you versed in his language? Or
Oh,
what?
not at all.
So let's hear how you would. Yeah, exactly.
I would say it tastes like a bad Blue Moon.
That's fair.
That's
Yeah.
about it, I think. Is what I can
Okay,
give you.
so my impression of that drink was bitter
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
kind of flavorless.
Yeah.
Flavorless.
So
It's almost the way
Yeah.
that, like, to me, eating a pepper is like pain, not flavor.
yeah.
But drinking this drink was like
Alcohol, no taste.
like
Yeah.
bitterness without a descriptor.
Yeah, so it's probably
Right.
not.
A soulless pain of the mouth.
Yeah, so it's actually not super bitter as far as like scientific bitterness
On the-
goes,
what's
like on
that?
the IBU
Bitterness?
scale,
Yeah.
International Bittering Units.
IBU?
So it's probably pretty low on that. But what you're getting is the taste from the yeast, and it's more of like what's called a water cracker. So like you were saying, flavorless. It's water. Like if you were to take a saltine and get rid of the salt, it's kind of what it tastes like ish.
So it's
That's how people.
bitter saltine
associate-
crackers in a juice.
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
But it's supposed to be light. It's supposed to have that,
All right,
like,
so
and it's
what-
a
what-
malt. You're getting the
Kind of man
bitterness is what
or
you call it.
woman walks into a bar
Yeah.
and says, "Give me the
Yeah.
bitter saltine cracker in a liquid form,
Yeah, you
please."
tell me about this person. Sounds like somebody I don't
They've been through a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so this person is going to be
It's Wednesday. It's 8 a.m. You're bellying up. You're bellying up to the bar.
no. I mean, kind of like it's a beer that you can definitely drink a lot of without feeling drunk or tipsy or anything. It's made to be kind of a day-long drinking beer.
Okay.
And this person is, I mean, if I had to stereotype the Bohemian Pilsner,
and you
it's
do.
going to
That's
be.
what
this
you're
is
doing
why
on
I'm
the
here.
couch.
I know. It's going to be like your middle-aged white male who's obsessed with like European stuff.
Like soccer.
Or like like soccer or like European history or architecture or is almost fed up with America. You know what I mean? Is like let's not.
Do you know someone like that?
I do. I was just thinking to myself, and you just described my friend Alex.
Text him and
yeah,
text him and ask
yeah.
him what his
I know
favorite.
Alex.
What is the beer? What type
Pilsner.
of beer? The
Just
Pilsner.
Just a
Pilsner in
Pilsner,
general.
yeah.
Oh,
Ask him
yeah.
if he likes Pilsners.
All right, we're gonna find out right now.
Yeah, dude, those are my favorite.
Yeah.
I love Pilsners.
He's
Yeah.
fed up with America. So lagers are American concepts.
Well, not necessarily. No. So a lager. So it's beer is beer, and then you have all sorts of different things. Ales are top fermenting yeast. Lagers are bottom fermenting yeast.
Okay.
And at cooler temperatures. So really, a lager it can still be dark. It can be sweet. It can be light. It can be anything. It's
Uh-huh.
same with ales. It's
Is
really
a Pilsner
common.
an ale?
This is a lager style.
Okay.
So typically lagers finish a little cleaner,
So what's
light
the
body.
American aspect of the drink you're touching on? European versus American. What is it?
So that has to do with palates. So European beers and old world beers are going to be mostly malt forward, so fewer hops,
They're
and
weak.
they're weak.
They're weak.
Exactly.
When I was in Europe last year, or 2 years ago now, we went to like a couple beer museums, and I drank a lot of Belgian beers and stuff like that, and I was just like never impressed with that. I was always like, so is there something kind of like an IPA? And I always had to like explain,
no.
like really hoppy.
Yeah.
This is the hoppiest we got. And it's
Well, so
still
that's kind of a
pretty
cool
pale,
concept right there. I was actually talking with my brother. It was we were deep into a drunken conversation about American style versus like European style beers, and it has like you were saying, like European style beers are malty, they're subtle, there's beers you can basically drink all day, they're well rounded, whereas American beers are almost always going to be like big and leaning towards one thing, whether it's hoppy or super sweet or very
strongly.
and it's very kind of like sectioned
the face
off.
with-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
This is our pumpkin
Which-
flavored brown, this or that. Like it's like
Yeah.
narrowed
Yeah.
down versus like this is just a nice beer.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
into that, yeah.
you kind of think about it too. Like Europeans have been making beer for a lot longer than we have, and so they've probably made like beers that punch you in the face. And drinking over there is a lot different too. Like in America, it's like, what's the biggest, newest, baddest thing? What can I get drunk on the fastest? Like, how many Bud Lights can I drink in a day and build my wizard staff? You know, like
Yeah.
to American, drinking is very much a competition. Like it's a very, like, I'm going to be better than you at something. So your beer styles kind of like go around that. In like European, like drinking is more like, you know, you can drink at 16 in most countries, and it's like, well, you go, instead of going to a coffee shop, you go to a brewery,
Yeah, it's just-
you
it's
drink a couple
really
beers,
every
do
day.
your homework. Like,
On your way home from
exactly,
work,
that's
you go
kind of
get
what
a
you do.
beer,
It's a
and
different
then you
way
get
of
home.
drinking. Yeah.
It's like expected.
So when you're
what I've
drinking a
heard.
beer
Never been
every
here.
day, it's like, I want something that's not going to just like repeatedly punch me in the teeth. You know what I mean? Like I want something that I can drink every day that's nuanced, that's subtle, that I can go and be like, you know, I just always love this beer. So like,
So you could fill your days with that depressing beer right there.
yeah,
Dark,
totally.
the empty, bitter darkness.
I really like it though.
That just
Like, I like-
reflects a postmodern European worldview of like,
Yeah.
there's just nothing, so why enjoy flavor?
exactly.
You know, I say that
Pilsner.
I
Well, so
don't-
that's a very American opinion. Though, right?
I say that I don't like that, but my like beer of choice is PBR, and that's not a joke. That's
But is
not
that
just like
is
a
that
bad thing.
is that a pilsner? That's just like a lager, right?
And yeah, like a light lager to be a similar style. It doesn't
Yeah.
use Pilsner
It
malt.
So, but
it
what I'm
has a
saying
little
is
that
citrus. It's got a
flavorless-
little.
It kind of playing back into like it doesn't punch you in the face. So it's like you can drink it 5 of them in a night, and
Yeah.
it's never overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
just like, sure, it's piss water maybe, but it's good piss water. You know, that's what I'm going for.
It's the
That's,
good- it's the good
my
stuff.
piss water.
It's my.
Which actually happened on an episode of The Good Place just last night that I just watched. There was,
never seen
there was
Drinking
a,
piss water.
There was a guy recycling his own waste.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good for him.
All right. That's,
Anyways, so
that's
that's-
the next stage of
Yeah.
taking care of the earth. Is
So
drinking,
that's
drinking
funny
the
you say that.
Pilsner and then drinking your own wastewater
Well, no.
recycled.
So recently, like 2 weeks ago, 3 breweries in town. I can't remember who they are. Then I know Mad Swede was one of them, and I think maybe Payette, but they did, and maybe Highlands Hollow. They did recycled sewage water, and they made a beer. Those
Oh
3
my
breweries
goodness,
made a
they
beer
really
out of
did.
recycled sewage, like water.
Yeah, I wouldn't try it.
So
I
that-
understand
people
that,
also
like,
always
the
say that.
fermentation, and like I get that, like
Well, the
all
water's
crap's
actually
pulled out
cleaner
of
than
it,
the
right?
stuff that because they go through more processes to clean the water, and you test it. Obviously, it's like clean water. You know what I mean? But it's just that
Yeah,
connotation
there's like
of
that mental block
yeah.
on it. It's like, no,
It's
I'm
not gonna do
drinking
it.
Sewage water.
Yeah.
You,
Did
can-
your-
you can keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Did your anti-patriotic friend get back to you on his beer choice yet?
I don't. I'm surprised he
Anti-patriotic.
hasn't. But
All
I
right,
don't
so
think
we
he has.
We'll dive into the next beer. We'll dive into the next
We ripped
style.
onto that one. Let's what's
Yeah.
the next drink here?
I mean, I really enjoyed that Pilsner, so props to Clairvoyant. They did a really, like, true to style. That's another good thing, actually, to note, is there are 2 ways to judge beer. By style or by just consumer choice, right? Like, you could
The
make a
old best
beer.
in show.
Yeah, exactly. You can make a beer, like, according to the style is just totally shitty. But, like, if people love it, people love it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's,
Right.
you know,
There's
you're not
still-
selling beer to 50 BJCP judges a day. You're selling beer to 50 regular ass Joes that are Joes and Janes.
Hopefully
That,
more than
I was gonna compare that to music. There's always subgenres of music that most people might not find appealing, but you can go to a fair just for that.
yeah.
Whether that's polka or bluegrass or whatever, you'll win the polka show. Might not win the best in show.
Exactly.
Compared to
You're not going to win the popularity
pop music.
contest.
Do they have beer festivals where it's like a one IPA
Certain
fest,
style? Yeah.
lager fest,
I think that's
Yeah.
Oktoberfest.
porter?
When you go to Oktoberfest,
Kind of,
they're
yeah.
only pouring like 2 things for an
Well, Oktoberfest is a very specific
But it's like
historical
at a brewery,
concept.
It's like their Oktoberfest, right? It's like I haven't been to like an Oktoberfest where there's like
Well, so
20 different
good
breweries
examples.
there. I don't know.
Hoptober Festival, Boise Brewing, the one we did in October, is all fresh hop beers. You have to add at least one fresh hop beer. Payette's doing their Black Friday, and it's all like stouts, imperial stouts, porters.
I should check that one out.
Yeah.
So that's on it's on Black Friday, aptly named.
I'm not gonna be there. Bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Well, shoot.
All right. Well, so before you talk all of this, let's jump
let's talk
into
about
that.
it. So this is
Stay on point here.
so this is a coffee.
Good advertising
I
for all
know,
these
right?
breweries that aren't yours.
I said we're doing cool stuff.
Boise Brewing.
Boise Brewing. No, this is a coffee Kolsch. So Kolsch is like a really light, crisp style. I think it's a German style.
Definitely
It's
sounds
originally
like it.
invented. Yeah, Kolsch.
Dutch
But it
maybe.
was made. The beer itself is supposed to be like the Kolsch style, super light. You're really not going to get hardly anything but yeast character. So like the yeast is what's going to give it the flavor, and that's where I'm talking about the subtleties. Like the Kolsch is
I think I've had yeast character before. It wasn't good.
That's gross.
I hate yeast.
Well, here, so try that. Try that. So.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I'll real quick finish the beer up. So this is this is like marriage between an American and German ideas, right? So Kolsch
like
is supposed
that.
to be really light,
Did you
really
say
subtle.
coffee?
But then we
does have
we did the
coffee.
American thing and added
We
coffee
added
to
flavor.
it, right?
Yeah,
So
some sort of
probably green coffee beans
But
because you're not getting
but
any
not
roast.
caffeine.
Thanks.
Or there is caffeine.
You usually just
little bit
dump
of caffeine.
coffee and cold brew coffee.
So this is a classy Four Locos. What we're
Yeah, exactly. It's an upper and a downer,
Hmm.
all in one glass. So it's light, but then it's like I said, we bastardized it with the American idea that it has to have something that punches you.
Maybe
which is the
even
coffee, right?
gentrified it a little bit.
Gentrify. That's a good word.
Depends on where you're at.
I like that.
I mean, we bastardized the style, the Kolsch style, right, with an American coffee infusion. So
Or did we improve it?
exactly. This is an interesting beer. I think the drinker of this beer is going to be someone who thinks highly of themselves in their craft beer knowledge. So almost like a craft beer hipster.
So is that your favorite?
No. Well, no. I mean, I love the Kolsch style. I like the idea of the coffee Kolsch using like the green coffee beans, so you're not stripping any color or the stringency. It's like
I want to make a distinction real quick because, like, Sawyer and I like that beer, but we wouldn't have known to order it, and so there's a difference.
Exactly.
It's a difference between the enjoyer of the beer and the person who actually ordered it and drank it.
Yeah,
The
so that's
person
what we're talking
who
about, right?
ordered
The
it
ordering the
is going to be
yeah.
a bit of a apparently hipster,
a self-proclaimed beer snob who says they know or who's in their try a bunch of shit phase.
Okay.
So there's the beer phases
Yep.
where it's like your college phase where you're drinking Keystones and PBRs and like just trying to get drunk off of that like of shitty beer, right? High school,
Those
early
days are
college.
over.
Hey, you can't say high school. We're not condoning any sort of.
I'm not condoning
drinking
underage
high
drinking.
No, absolutely not.
I'm condoning smart drinking.
But I've seen it happen.
I've seen it. I've been present.
But I know it happens
Yeah.
somewhere else, not here.
Yeah, not around.
These are grown men.
I always talk to the people and say, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. Don't do that." But yeah, and then you go into your like, I should probably try craft beer. So you go for a Blue Moon, and you're like, well, okay, like craft beer, right? Blue Moon, Goose Island IPA, Widmer Hef.
You probably get into your sockeyes and stuff. If you're sampling.
Not
in there?
quite yet. No,
Okay.
you're still getting into like the Anheuser-Busch companies that own have purchased the smaller company, like purchased the previously craft beer
Like you're spending
makers,
$1
and it's like
more than you were
just
spending.
exactly.
Not much more.
You're getting something that looks like craft beer.
It got so quiet in here once Danger Zone stopped playing.
Yeah,
I know.
feel like the entire brewery could hear Josh talking.
Well, anyways, and then you got those people, and then they start to get smart, and they're like, or they, get a job and they make money where they can actually afford stuff, and so it's like you're now upgrading.
Hand me the Kolsch so I can finish
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
So you're updating, and you're getting into the people who are like, oh, like what's my local craft brewery, or maybe you're getting like Lagunitas or Sierra Nevada, and it's like still technically craft, but it's big craft, and then you go into your like local craft.
Right, you've gone from Walmart to Albertsons. You
Exactly.
haven't made it
yeah.
to Whole Foods
You
yet.
haven't quite made it to Whole Foods, but then like you're thinking local craft. Now you're going to Whole Foods. You're getting the local stuff. You're experimenting. You're trying all these different styles. You're like, oh, I'm not just an IPA guy anymore. It's
You're really
like, I want
finding
to try
yourself.
different
You're
things.
on a journey.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a Spirit Quest.
Exactly, and then
Spirit Quest even works on an alcohol level. You know what I mean? Spirit Quest.
it's truly,
Oh,
it is truly
yeah.
a spirit quest and a spiritual quest for those who really believe in it. But then you're going
Maybe.
maybe. Then you kind of like dial it back as you like just had all the big double IPAs, and you're like, man, I haven't shit right in a week, and like I'm just getting so crazy, and so you start to tone it back down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I
then you're
remember
like,
that.
yeah.
I have no control over the content of this podcast. It's like as soon as you make something public, it's no longer yours
I
anymore.
know.
It's just-
Well, and
so-
then so then people dial it down,
What-
and then you
what
kind of get
gets
into
said
that
gets said.
comfortable, like your breweries, your styles. You're like, I know I like this, or like I'm pairing this with a certain food for dinner, and blah blah blah. So then you kind of pick and choose that way.
So this sounds like a healthy journey, and then at some
It
point,
really is.
at some point, it bifurcates into a situation where this person goes overboard and then now starts ordering Kolsch's.
Yeah. No, that's actually trending right now. So you'll see a lot of people still want craft, people still want local, but now people want less hoppy. They want Kolsch's, they want pilsners, they want light lagers, they want like ambers and browns, stuff that's not.
You already know this about me.
Aggressive.
The viewers don't, but I don't like hoppy taste, and I felt like craft beer to most people meant IPA from a small brewery.
Totally,
And
yeah.
it was like,
'Cause that's
and
kinda
I
what
saw
popularized
a meme,
it.
I love the meme that was like IPAs are just pumpkin spice lattes for white men in their 30s.
It's true. It's not. That's a very good
That's very
description of it. Yeah.
So it became the most basic thing you could order, and it's like I would drink it and be like, I don't get why everybody else likes these. But then I started discovering that there's more and more and more unique
yeah.
flavors and colors to things.
You
so.
could get citrus IPAs. You
Yeah.
could get
All right,
hazies,
so we-
piney. You could get.
Speaking of IPA,
Yeah. All right.
segue
Here it is. Jumping into it.
Into
This is
the
the one
next
that
beer.
Solid Dog's drinking.
Yeah. Great beer. Really well balanced.
Balanced how?
Well, so it is going to be bitter, but IPA was a beer invented
You want some
to.
more of that? You want to
oh
dump
yeah,
it in,
you got
dump
yours.
it in your cup?
Cheers. Was used to initially. So hops have a preservative quality or character, so they preserve the length of time that you can store and ship beer. So the British, when they were occupying India, would aggressively hop their pale ales so that it would last longer on the trip when they were shipping it from, England to, or, wherever in Great Britain to, or the UK to India. And so that became the India Pale Ale.
Really?
That's
That's what IPA
That's
is.
what IPA stands.
India
Pale
Pale
Ale.
Ale.
Because of the shipping, the need to ship it.
Okay, now there's something else that also has the abbreviation IPA that you go, that's actually not an IPA. Was that... So Indian Pale Ale is IPA, right?
IPA is India Pale Ale. Yeah,
India, you don't say Indian Pale Ale. It's not a descriptor. Okay.
yeah, India Pale Ale. So that's why it became aggressively hopped, and then obviously the American palate has been just taking that and like going exponentially through the roof with what you can do with hops. So
So that's just regular IPA. Then you double it. What are you doubling?
you can have
when
a
you
session
go-
IPA, which is less.
You double the hops when you double an IPA,
Typically, yeah.
and you can
So,
triple it.
You triple it.
Where do
quad
they?
it.
Where do they
Triple
stop?
would be probably pretty.
Where do they
like,
stop?
Gross, I would imagine, because a lot
I'm
of
not a
those
fan.
doubles are at a point that you're like,
Yeah,
this
back,
is
pump
my
the
limit
brakes.
of-
Yeah.
If
Totally.
you went triple, I don't think that would be appealing.
Well,
is,
I mean-
is there such thing?
Can you
Yes,
Google
there's
it
a
and
quad
see if,
IPA.
Can you Google it and see what the
Quad?
most IPA is?
Yeah. Well, so I think
is
it's
it a sipper?
BrewDog who made it, but BrewDog does like all the crazy
At
shit.
what point does it become like a Slurpee or something?
It's
Because
just,
so
yeah, that's gross. So it's interesting because the human palate can only taste up to so many IBUs before it just kind of like plateaus, you know, or
Really?
like it's like a and then it's and I think that's around 110, 120-ish. I have no idea, but I think that's what it is.
Okay.
But you can make beers that have like 200 IBUs, 300 IBUs, but it means nothing to the beer. It's more just
Wow.
like a pissing contest of who can make the most. You know what I mean?
You want to be able to get those numbers up.
Exactly.
So, is there a difference between bitter and sour?
Oh yeah.
And then maybe
I mean, you have the
what's
five, like,
what's the nuance?
or I guess
there?
there's another, anyways, but yeah, like, it's, I mean, sour is clearly like
Hang on.
oh. Uh-oh.
Technical difficulty.
You still
We
live?
are now. So yeah, this has a cutoff timer,
So,
Oh,
here
bummer.
is
and we probably hit that like 5-6 minutes ago. So there may just be a blank section of the
26
video.
We could just throw some pictures out.
That'll be. Oh, I could put the fishing montage in the,
Oh, there you go.
in the gap of recording video.
Perfect.
So if you're paying attention in the bottom corner, there's a little timer, and so we got 18 minutes, whatever, before the
2,600.
video
That's
cuts off.
ridiculous. 2,600 IBUs, I guess, is the highest.
apparently they do not get good scores on the taste either. Like people are not like, wow, that was good.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh jeez.
This is the
Thanks.
Jeff Goldblum question of your scientists were so concerned with whether or not they could, they
Yeah.
didn't stop to ask if they should.
Exactly.
All right, can we put that IPA away
A
and
black
drink
Yeah.
what looks to
IPA.
be the good IPA?
Jeez. We need to get some of these. Super
Well, anyway, so the
hops.
IPA is the classic.
We don't
like-
really have to explain to viewers what an IPA. They all know what it
Yeah,
is.
the
It-
stereotype is, like
maybe-
you said,
maybe
it's
it's
the
a-
pumpkin spice latte
Maybe
for
the
white
question
males.
is, how did it become the standard?
Because
is
I think
that
it had to
most
do with
famous?
I think it had to do with hop growth. 'Cause it's in the northwest region. You're in a very like 90 some odd % of all American hops are grown in Washington, Idaho, and Oregon.
Here we are.
So yeah, we're kind of in the heart of hop country.
Do you think it's because of convenience that created the supply, and so therefore they just push IPAs, and that creates the demand?
Well, it's that classic again. It's that
People
American.
ask for IPAs. They don't
Yeah.
just drink them because of there.
My outside thought on it, and this is just what I would think is like
Yeah.
why IPAs are so big, and I think it's IPAs and like porters. It's like those are the two people you find, like with the craft beer people, those are the
Mm-hmm.
two people you find that are like hell bent on, oh, I drink dark stuff, or
Yeah.
I like IPAs. I think it's just like the badge of honor of craft beer. It's like no one cares
The original
that you
one,
like
yeah.
pale ales.
Yeah.
Like no one's like, oh my gosh, like what's your favorite pale ale? You're just like, I like pales. Cool. Like I'm on, you know, like I'm past that. I feel
Okay,
like
so that's the
darker
one that I
ones,
was confusing earlier, by the way. I didn't know that a pale ale was different than an India pale ale.
It's just like a less hopped
Yeah, it's-
IPA.
Okay.
Yeah, usually more a
And it's
little
not
more malty.
cool. It's not vogue to like
more
pale
color.
ale compared
Yeah, I just
to
think it
liking
doesn't
an
have the
IPA.
craft beer like
Yeah.
Ding!
Yeah.
here's your reward, like
Here's your
oh,
badge,
you do
yeah.
love beer.
And
Like,
that's
I just-
exactly the nuance that you're talking about. So who drinks the IPA? Stereotype them, or did you already do that?
Yeah, well, it's. I mean,
We've
it's
kind of already been
it's
doing
kind of
that.
that. Like you said, is the meme. It's that person who doesn't really it's that white bro who doesn't really understand craft beer, but like wants to impress their friends or impress the person where they're with and be like, oh yeah, I drink IPAs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
Or they default to because they don't know what else to even
Exactly.
have.
Yeah, it's the default.
That's my thing.
it's like, well, I don't want to drink Bud because that's not cool anymore, but I know IPAs are cool. Like you're saying, it's the badge of. I know my craft beer.
Yeah.
Fun fact, actually, we did a recent survey with Boise Brewing, and we found that on a scale of 1 to 5, and granted, we didn't say like 1 is no nothing, 5 is you're like a level 3 certified Cicerone. It's most people ranked themselves. 90% of people rank themselves at 3 or higher,
90%.
with the average, with the highest being around 4. So people
90%
think
cannot be a 3 or
I'm
higher.
a 2, and I drink a lot of beer. Like I don't.
Yeah, so
pretend
most
to
people
know
really think they know more about craft beer than they have this hubris, I guess, about their knowledge
That's
of
very
craft beer.
There's so much to know.
Well, it's a
Wow.
part
But
of
people
it's a
don't
part of
think.
culture that you're supposed to as well.
Exactly.
You're kind of like, because beer is a rite of passage.
Yep.
You're becoming an adult. It's, hey, now you can get away from drinking whatever.
Yep.
Soda is really bad for you, obviously, but your other options are like, well, I guess tea, and
Coffee.
yeah, I
Coffee,
mean,
tea. Yeah.
Love coffee.
it becomes
Kombucha.
it becomes a cultural
you're in
norm.
Portland.
Oh man.
And so I guess it's like if you feel like you don't know about beer, then you're admitting to not being like quite a sophisticated adult.
Exactly.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost.
So that's the IPA drinker now. I mean, obviously, when you get into it, there are some really, really good IPAs. I mean, with anything, there's the good and the bad and the ugly.
This is
So.
immediately my favorite of the four. Immediately.
Perfect. Yep. So this is the brown ale. I was gonna say the person who orders a brown ale.
Not bad.
Will adamantly tell you that they hate hops, they hate IPA, and they'll make it a no.
Bing, got it.
Yeah, they'll walk up to the bar. Well, I don't like hoppy beers, so that's
At
the
all.
first thing they say, no matter what.
0 on your IBU
Yeah.
scale, please.
I probably told you that like 6 times.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't like IPAs.
It's just spot on.
And it's male or female. They're like typically, and again, I don't mean to stereotype, but typically it's a female preferred drink.
And I'm okay with that. I drink
Yeah.
almost entirely female preferred drinks.
Yeah, well, and it has to
I
do
do a lot of that.
Exclusively.
like it's, and I don't mean
Females
to
have good
stereotype,
taste.
but
IPUs
No,
are where
totally.
I really pull my balls out.
yeah,
Otherwise, it is cocktail after cocktail.
Yeah.
Speaking of, be careful with the camera presentation.
yeah,
Well,
might be getting a show.
it's just shorts in November.
I have a story from college, but we're not going to share that one on this.
All right.
Yeah,
podcast.
not
But
yet.
it's the-
Well, yeah,
That's the
let me
next
finish
podcast
this up
story.
first.
It's everything you can
Let me-
imagine from the context of what we just talked about.
Let me finish this up here, just so that we can really get into it. I just
Brown ale.
no, I don't want to pick up all that couch noise.
That's what it's there for. It's just when someone farts.
Yeah. whoop. No, but you're looking. The brown ale is a really interesting beer because it's malty, it's sweet, it's often biscuity, and it's like it's the neutral
Biscuit.
beer. It's like the Sweden of beers because it's like there's not really a whole lot going on.
Socialist,
Right in the middle. It's just right in the middle of everything. Right in the middle of color. Right in the middle of like flavor. You can get brown ales and ambers that have like a little bit of, bitterness to it, but it's mostly going to be like, I don't really want to drink craft beer, but if I'm going to have to, if I'm here with my boyfriend
well
or my
have a-
significant other, I'm going to have a brown
Might as well
ale
have a brown ale.
or an amber. Yeah.
Okay, so amber and brown ale are this like just getting started into the darks, right? Because
Yeah,
from there
so
you
it's
get
kinda
into your
like you're on
porter
the
and
cusp.
stouts.
Yeah,
Then it
porter,
starts getting out of hand.
stouts. Yeah. Yeah.
With the brown ale, is it common to see flavors infused into that? Because I know with porter and stout, it's like there's always a coffee.
Honestly,
or a
not
nut
really. I
or
mean,
some
yeah,
kind
with
of
the
named flavor involved.
with the brown ale, you're gonna get just nutty, but people don't really. This is one that that as a craft beer drinker, you're like, okay, it is what it is, and that's what the consumer likes. Like people like that very neutral, like
I'm getting a lot of from the way that you're presenting what you're saying. You're saying we don't really like it as craft beer brewers or craft beer aficionados. We don't really approve. It's not really welcome, but it's a necessary evil. Am I picking that up correct from you?
That's kind of what I'm saying right now, but I'm all definitely in the opinion of there is a place for every
yeah.
beer.
Pass
You know
that
what I
over,
mean?
please.
There's a place for every beer, so I'm not trying to say it's a bad style, but like
It sounds like you're breaking up with the brown ale right now. I'm not trying to say that
you're
it's
over it.
bad.
It's not
You're
you,
just
it's
style.
me.
I just
I'm
can't
over it,
help
yeah.
but say that it's a bad style.
it's like because I
Your
guess
body says it's a bad
yeah,
style.
totally. I mean, in
seeing
my
right through you.
opinion, a lot of the brown ales and the ambers, you're gonna get a yeast strain that's very neutral. That's like, it's not gonna give you any sort of like underlying flavor or character. Your bitterness is it's gonna be very neutral. Your grain bill is gonna be very neutral unless you add some sort of nut character to it to make it like stand out a little more.
So it's too
it's
neutral.
just it's almost too neutral.
Interesting. That's why I said this is a sweetened beer. You double down
Yeah.
on neutrality. That's good.
Yeah.
You're consistent. It must be true.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So where do you
again,
go?
that's one man's opinion.
So where do you go from here if you want darker and more flavor? You don't like hops, but you want to be the craft beer person. Maybe we should even pose it as like, what does this person drink? What does this person drink? What does this person drink?
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, Josh does have data on this, and that he does work behind the bar. He doesn't just work like on a laptop or whatever. He sees people come in and order a bar, and he has conversations with them all the time.
Yeah.
So the person who orders the brown ale, we covered that pretty well.
Yeah.
That's me.
Neutral drinker.
I kind of think you mentioned like maybe the woman wanting to sort of, she's dragged into an environment where she has to order a craft beer, or
It's a great beer for that.
Yeah, my boyfriend's ordering or whatever, and so orders that. But I think I still observe people in that environment just defaulting IPA again because it's super popular. It's the biggest part of the bell curve. Everybody's got an IPA, and so he's like, "Oh, you're ordering a drink? Well, I guess what's your IPA? What IPA do you have on tap?"
Yeah, but
That's
I
what I
mean,
hear all
you
the
got to
time.
remember the first question though is like, well, I don't like hoppy.
So
Every
you
amber,
instantly, if
every
somebody says that to you, is that the first beer you recommend? If somebody walks up to the counter, it's just like, I don't like hoppy, they're gonna be like, yo, check out the.
yes, yeah, because they want that sweetness.
so
That's what you're looking for.
So if you're going to dive in
The American
further
palate
beyond the
loves
4
sweet.
drinks that we have,
Yeah.
porter and stout, let's at least touch those.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have one to drink.
I was gonna ask, is there more up there that we did?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to go
Plenty
grab
more.
4 more? I can grab the next set. If
Do you want to just pause all this until we get more drinks?
should we do a
We can
quick
get another
pause?
4, yeah.
We're going
Let's
to
do
pause
that.
this stuff. All right, well, now it's just me and Josh on the couch, the way that God intended. And so
Adam
we're
and Steve.
going about to get a beer. And I've got my donut.
Smart.
I have a sweet palate. We've got 4 more beers.
The American palate.
And those, I don't know, like, did we move it? Those beers are just out of.
Well,
Whatever.
we know they're there now, so we're good.
They're all much darker.
Yeah.
Josh, tell us
Well,
what we got.
Yeah, so I went back and grabbed more or less the other kind of defining styles. A little more interesting. So this one's an English Pale Ale. So I'll have you drink that.
And
then-
palate from the donut.
Yeah, donut cleanse, and then let you tell me what you think about it.
Let me get another one here in a second.
Donut cleanse.
So, by the way, DK Donuts. Love DK Donuts.
At DK Donuts.
13th Street in State. 1314 in State.
Sounds good. All right. So what do you think?
I have a really hard time differentiating this from a lager, from a Coors, from. I mean, it's not bitter. It's just like a tiny bit bitter,
Yep.
and I really have a hard time telling that if this was a taste test, I don't think I'd be able to say that wasn't Coors or PBR. I mean, I think I know what PBR tastes like.
Yeah.
I could drink that and be happy. If I was paying a premium for it, I wouldn't be happy.
That's fair.
It's not exciting, and it's just kind of generic to me.
It's kind of there, yeah. So that's actually an English style pale ale. So like we were talking about earlier, it's one of those beers you can kind of drink. English pale ale right there.
Thank you.
So it's going to have, most likely, using noble hops. So hops that were invented or originated in Europe. Those hops are going to be less fruity, have less bittering character to them, I guess. And then it's going to be you're going to get more of a spice. So not like hot spicy, like hot sauce, but like herbal spicy, I guess, from your hops. And they're going to be more subtle. So that's why you're not getting any bitterness. You're not getting any like real defined hop character, because it's in the background. And then the body is just super light, pale malt, basically the same body as an IPA.
The same body as an IPA. What involves body?
So the grain behind us, that's what makes up your grain bill, your body.
Grain bill.
It's
So
barley.
grain
Most of it's
equals,
raw.
body equals grain type.
Typically,
Simple
yeah.
as that, or is
Typically.
it grain type and amount? Grain just
Yeah.
And the
Type and
grain-
amount, percentage,
And the
all
grain
that.
is wheat. is
You
it-
can
is it
have
varied?
wheat beers. You can have wheat. You can have rye. Barley is the common one. Two-row barley is the most common
Barley is the main thing that's in IPAs and whatnot.
in most everything.
Okay.
Just
Is that
because
just like
it's
cheap factor? Or is it just
well,
the
so
best tasting,
cheap
or?
is rice and corn. So really, all you need to do is extract sugars from the grain. So it's like with grapes, or with wine, you mash up all the grapes, and then the yeast eats the sugar, and that's where you get your alcohol from. With beer, it's grain. So rye, barley. You can use corn, wheat. People use oats. People use rice. All sorts of crazy stuff. Like you can make a gluten-free beer, as long as there's no grain in it. You just need to get sugars out of whatever it is and into the wort so that the yeast can then eat the sugars and create alcohol and
Okay.
CO2. So yeah, body mostly pertains to grain bill or malt bill is what it's called.
Okay. I regret that I asked.
A little too scientific. Probably. But this
Jump into the
is
next beer?
yeah.
About bodies or what?
So this is another
What do I do here?
yeah, I would say another person who's going to order this beer is
Oh, that's right. We have to
yeah.
stereotype the person. real
Stereotype
quick.
the person.
We know you're out there.
I know. I'm gonna go. Honestly, this is like another.
I think.
It's like the same
I
guy
think-
who ordered the Pilsner.
Will you just say
Just
a
on
person?
a
I
different
want to
day.
know. Let's just start using an example.
Like an actual physical.
Call him out by
Easier to
name.
tag them.
Yeah, we'll take him in the video. No, I would actually go with. I would argue that this is another hipster-esque person.
That's a
No,
No.
I think he's too much concerned. Well, it's like there's too much image behind. You know, like this is someone who's wearing round glasses, who biked here, who wears mom jeans as a female, or like rolls up their pant legs at the bottom.
None of those descriptors fit.
You're just trying to call people out now.
You just want to call people out for the sake of calling them out.
Yeah, no, so it's someone who's like, oh yeah, I come here to do my homework and drink beer. You know what I mean?
Again,
Like
sort of,
that
again,
kind of person.
An iconoclastic person that doesn't want to be lumped in with the same American stereotypes.
Exactly, but it's like that weird. They're like, I don't want to go totally craft, but I don't want to drink PBR. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be the hipster who just always drinks PBR. It's like I want to be the hipster who drinks craft beer, and so I need a beer that is, kind of bridges that
Essentially a
gap.
PBR.
Yeah,
fancier.
a fancy
A $6
yeah.
PBR.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, we
That's
got
good.
that
So that's the
person.
person.
pegged.
Yeah.
Now we got this.
I
So
I picture it's somebody who works at either Guru Donuts or a coffee shop downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
totally.
when they get off.
When they get off, they're like, I can't do coffee anymore. My palate's
Time to get
ruined
some
from
beer.
drinking coffee all
Boom.
day. Yeah, I'm gonna go with
English pale ale.
the English pale ale,
Yeah.
because then they can still talk about themselves and have a craft beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that the stereotypes are kind of like edgy, a little bit dark. Like each person's sort of a loser, and so far all of our
Dude, I mean,
Most people are losers.
Like
That's-
when you-
in
like
their
that's what
own
beer is,
element.
dude.
I'm a
Like,
Like when you
loser.
read a
We're all
horoscope,
losers.
if you read a
blue-collar drink.
horoscope,
Right.
it's gonna tell you like some sort of positive thing for your little, your sign that month in your horoscope.
Oh, you want a positive thing too.
But this is more like, no, you're this kind of loser. If you're
All right, so what we need to do is 3 negatives and a positive.
3 negatives are positive.
Yeah.
Okay. So I gave a bunch of negatives on that last one.
Yeah.
But
So what's the positive?
the
about
positive
that?
They're probably earth carrying. They.
He probably writes in his diary a lot, so he's like in touch with his feelings.
they ride their bike everywhere. There's probably some poetry somewhere
A lot of
that's
poetry.
probably pretty good. I'm not saying the person's not friendly. Probably a pretty friendly
probably a nice
person.
guy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're not bad qualities. It's just they live a lifestyle that's the lifestyle they
We
live.
don't see eye to eye on our lifestyles,
Yeah.
but I respect your
Yeah.
lifestyle. Yeah.
They're in a band that opens for a local artist on Friday nights. Like they're the opener for the local artist who's actually okay. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
and they probably play
They get,
drums
like,
or
the 25
bass.
bucks
Yeah.
from
So-
Patty's.
so-
Yeah,
this-
exactly.
What am I drinking?
This is a barley wine. This is a fun one.
So
Barley
I was
wine?
gonna say this. This was the very first comment I was gonna make. If I were blind taste testing this, I don't know that I would know that this is beer.
Yeah.
Is
So
it
that's
beer?
good. It is beer. So I was like, yup.
So that's a barley
This tastes
wine.
totally different.
Yeah, so the barley wine style is interesting. It's basically
Yeah, it's bananas.
bananas. Good call. Yeah, so that comes from the yeast. So it's banana. Oh,
No, hang on. Memory card's full. We got problems.
It's super stoned.
Okay, what we missed in the interim between the camera going off and running out of memory and all the things that make Free Candy the podcast that it is.
Amen.
It wouldn't be the podcast if the camera didn't shut off and the audio
If
didn't
something
mess up
didn't
and-
happen.
And it didn't
whatnot.
break into an entirely different.
Conversation about
So then
dinosaurs and aliens.
What we missed is that we went into talking about dinosaurs and aliens. So,
Riveting stuff.
whatever. What was this drink that we just had? The
barley wine, yeah, so back to the barley
will
wine.
make you talk about dinosaurs and aliens
Yeah.
instantly. It
Yeah.
segued from Joe Rogan
It was
and
so
Tom
weird,
DeLonge.
I think, because it just
and-
threw my mind into a
Yeah,
whole new
what is this?
dimension.
What
You're
is
in a
the
different
universe?
headspace right
Yeah,
now.
huh?
It's like, what is this drink?
Yeah,
what is the universe?
This isn't a cider. It's not a beer.
Are we alone?
It's not wine.
Alone?
It,
Am I even talking to you guys?
Is there purpose?
for me, it's like they got a trash bag and then they poured out the bottom of that crap that's at the bottom,
Oh,
and then
no.
they threw it into this drink.
Really?
That's how I feel about the barley wine. Personally,
Really?
I don't like it at all. But it's because I expected beer and it wasn't at all beer. And so when it hit my palate, it's kind of like if you were expecting a drink of water and you drank a drink
I
of
think
Coke.
you ruined the barley
it's like
wine.
so
for me.
shocking that you're like, that was disgusting.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I did like it the first time, and now that you described it that way,
It's garbage
I
juice.
don't like it anymore.
Garbage juice.
So, speaking of garbage juice, my roommate Derek came back last night and he looked in the
All right, well.
he looked in the vegetable crisper drawer and he pulls out the bag of kale. And I often would buy kale and carrots to juice,
Yeah.
and then I never juice them. I just let them rot in the fridge.
Let them juice themselves.
That makes a ton of
Well,
sense. That's super
at
smart.
the bottom of it was just dark,
Black.
juicy black matter.
right? Yeah. I've done kale too. It's gross. You're like,
So-
why is this black?
I've forgotten about kale too.
So
I've neglected
It's
to
so
juice kale
forgettable.
before.
what kind of? I mean, I guess you could take a shot of that and get a kick somehow.
You could get something out of that for sure. I don't know if it's going to be healthy for you at that point. Yeah.
All right, so who drinks the barley wine?
Barley wine. The barley wine drinker is the kind of weird metalhead with long thin hair and a wispy mustache, likely a goatee.
What are you
who
talking
loves
about?
no, seriously. So this person likes getting drunk, likes getting rowdy, loves weird European genres of death metal, and
So Norwegian.
sure, yeah, Norwegian death metal, and is probably relatively intelligent, but super nerd. Gets really nerdy and intense on one subject.
Is there something to do with Vikings in this?
I feel like you're
scenario?
talking
Probably
about
some
Bam
Vikings.
Margera or something. I feel like you just described Bam Margera.
Maybe.
You did describe Bam Margera.
Really? Yeah, I don't know.
But I
much
think you
about
also
Bam Margera.
described Zach Wilde. And there's no way that guy drinks barley wine.
There's no way. No way. So
Ask him.
grabbing that garbage
Ask
bag.
him. Ask him, dude. No, but
Someone who wants to inflict as much pain in their life as possible, they drink barley wine.
yeah,
on a
and then they go to
regular
a weird
basis.
then they go to a Norwegian death metal concert.
Is that a high alcohol percentage? In that
Yeah, it usually floats around I think 12 to 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a big beer. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You got to understand the beer too. It's a big beer. It's usually often fermented for a long period of time. That's how you get all that alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times, what you'll do is you'll add more and more and more to get the sugar levels up and to get the alcohol up.
That's where that garbage taste comes from.
So you're getting a lot of you're getting
so
heat, you're getting
much.
Send it
alcohol.
again,
It's
send
just
it
you're just
again.
blasting it, and you're just keep adding yeast and adding sugar, and it's just more and more and more. I want to abuse my beer, I
Like they're-
abuse my body and my
They test
Ooh,
it, and if
interesting.
it's drinkable, they send it back.
So it's the saddest kind of thing.
It's the
Yeah,
saddest
yeah.
thing in the brewery. They
I
forget
mean, I'm
about
talking
it.
about
no
sadistic.
sadist, yeah.
Sadist, there we go. I
Sadist,
said
yeah.
saddest, it's sadist. Both,
Sadist,
but it's
yeah.
both.
That's bullshit.
It's the
Yeah.
sadist.
Yeah,
It's the most sadist,
little
and the
bit of
most
both.
saddest thing.
But yeah, no, the barley wine drinker is definitely like a metalhead.
So it's almost like
yeah.
I can see an evolution of a person where they go from doing the European I hate America thing to drinking Pilsners for a little while.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they're like, I want the dark, bitter emptiness to
Yep.
reflect my soul in my stomach.
Yep.
And then they just go through a midlife crisis where they're like, what am I doing? I really need to amp up my life. I'm going to go to some metal joints. I'm going to
They maybe
headbang a
came
little
to
bit.
terms with
They grow
America a
they
little
grow
bit.
their hair out.
Or-
and then
yeah.
they're like, but I still hate myself and I'm empty and I want darkness and pain, barley wine.
So, I mean, a little bit, yes. Or it's the same kind of end.
I don't even know if he's serious anymore.
Yeah, no, seriously, but the same kind of end, but it's like you've always kind of like... You've always been a fan of metal, kind of counterculture, but as it pertains to, you know, that whole metal Viking, Norwegian, sort of ancient war-like
Have you
shit.
been to a metal show?
Yes, yeah.
Where? Here?
In Salt Lake. My roommate actually used to be the lead guitarist for a metal band.
Do you think they serve barley wine at that metal place?
It wasn't a metal-specific
there's
venue.
no chance.
It wasn't a metal-specific venue.
So the Shredder is Boise's metal-specific venue. I don't know what's on tap there. I would bet against them serving barley wine.
Not a whole lot of people make barley wines.
It's all just cheap beer.
Yeah,
They're not going to serve you anything fancy at a metal place.
So if you would have let me finish my earlier thought.
My fault.
It's okay.
I really like
the same.
I watched a debate where the guy kept saying, I'm sorry, the middle of my sentences keep interrupting the beginning of yours.
That's kind of how it works. Yeah. Just kidding. But it's the same type of person that does that, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, I want to drink beer. And then they start with that, like, European style. They get porters. Because it's always about, like, what's bigger, what's badder, what's stronger, what can we do more and more and more. And it's like that barley wine is a good style because it's unique. It's not...
How pissed would you be, though, if somebody's like, dude, try my beer, and they handed you that? Because you're expecting beer. That doesn't taste like beer. I'm not even saying, like, even if you like or don't like barley wine.
Yeah.
If you're told, try my beer, I'm expecting either, like, an IPA, or if I look at it as black, okay.
So you're going to do a
it's
spit
gonna be a
take.
Coffee,
You're going to do a spit take and look at that person and go, what are you doing?
Like, did you feed me some rotten? Like, I don't know. Like,
How reckless can you be?
It would surprise you just because it's so crazy flavor with the same look.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, all these metalheads, they've got normal daytime jobs. It's not like they're going out and, like, living that life. It's like, no, these people work at Micron, at Sears. Yeah,
Mostly
Sears.
at Sears.
At Sears.
If you
people work at Sears, at Chili's.
Please, I think my dream
Applebee's, man, like normal, regular-ass people with regular-ass jobs, but then at night,
for this
they put on black makeup and, like, wear their T-shirts and really go for it.
My dream for this podcast now is
Put back a couple of barley wines.
That employee from Sears sends us an email and says,
nailed it.
That is so insulting.
Simply nailed it.
/ true.
If it wasn't true, they wouldn't be insulted. That's like...
How dare you perfectly describe it?
I hate you guys as much as I hate my life.
What was the name of that drink that you guys had?
Yeah. Also,
wine.
Where were you? Barley wine? Okay, all right.
I've been looking for a good private barley wine.
I've been looking for a post-work place to
Also,
go.
which metal show serves barley wine?
All right, next beer.
Next beer.
We've thoroughly insulted that person.
Yeah. We love you, though. We love you. It's still strong.
I mean, yeah. If I told you my favorite style, I would instantly be insulted.
All right.
PBR.
So we'll do that at the end of the podcast, I guess, or after these. So this is a porter.
I've been told one time after I ordered a drink like this, they said, "Oh, you like to eat your beers."
Yeah. High
Chew your
calorie
beers.
count.
Very clever.
So that's actually a misconception.
What?
Yes.
Glad I brought that up.
Color has nothing to do with calories.
I just have porters on the.
Nope. Yeah, no. So Guinness, the porter that is a stout technically, but like what most people associate with dark beers, has some of the fewest calories.
I want to like this beer. Something's missing.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna like put in a note right now for all of our listeners. I'm gonna say
both of you.
Yeah, all two of our listeners.
Hey, Sean.
Thanks, buddy. I'm likely gonna say something that's wrong, and then people are going to be like, "Oh, he doesn't know shit about beer."
We'll Google everything after.
Yeah. So if I do say something that's wrong, please add it to, and then call me out.
You'll be our first comment.
Yeah, ever. Call me out on that shit though, because
4
I'm trying to learn
episodes
as much
one
as
comment.
Yeah. So a lot of this shit I'm pulling out of my ass too. So it sounds
I've
smart.
seen some upvotes, some downvotes with likes or dislikes on YouTube. I've never seen a comment yet. Maybe it's a setting, and maybe you can't comment.
Perfect. Hopefully, I just prefaced our first comment. Like,
you set it up.
Now I'm gonna purpose.
We've asked for comments before. So, all right, why is this porter so bad?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, it's not bad.
I like it actually.
Yeah, so
feel like
porters are
it's-
roasty, little bigger body. The person who drinks a porter. The person who drinks a porter is kind of a not like out in the boonies kind of person, but like no, that's a bad way of describing that. I don't know, porter's tough.
I'll have fun editing this section with like a few moments later.
I know, right? The porter's actually a tough one. I don't know. Do you guys have any suggestions?
I came
It's
here
a
not
wide
not
variety of
prepared.
people. I think you do have to be into craft beer. I think if you don't have like an ability to like enjoy different flavor and stuff with your beer, and if you just like your natty ices, your PBRs, your Bud Lights, your plain shit, then this is not good to you at all. So I think there is like a certain amount of like craft brew knowledge, and I like a variety of beers, and I think that's an important thing for the porter person. I do think it's a lot. I know a lot of ladies that drink the porter.
Porter style, yeah.
I do also know that you can't really have more than like one or two of them before it's. Even like the biggest porter lover I know, two of them and they're good. You know, like I'm past the porter now. It's just a heavy drink. So.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's another type of person who doesn't quite want to like. They don't want to be seen as I'm drinking beer. Like kind of beer is sort of like they're drinking the Keystone and Natty Ice and playing beer pong in the house
They don't
party,
want that.
and they don't want to be associated with that kind of the moral fiber
classy.
of that class or whatever.
Yeah.
And so by drinking a porter, disassociating
Yeah.
from the negative whatever.
I don't binge drink.
So
I
like
just
I'm
enjoy
the
my-
sophisticated sort of under control. I have the self control. I'm just gonna have one porter and call it good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is that fair? Because I'm sort of
That's good.
spitballing.
Yeah. In my
That's somewhat of my own story going
Yeah.
into drinking.
Yeah,
I kind
me
of
too.
started there and worked my way backwards and going like, PBR is
it's
not
very
that bad.
approachable.
Everybody even says that like PBR or cores, they always refer to it as some form of piss. So
Right,
like,
it's
well,
always-
so I obviously want to start.
Donkey piss,
I
gorilla
obviously-
piss
Blood
shit.
or whatever.
So I was like, I obviously want to start somewhere besides there.
Yeah,
And
besides
so,
piss.
Let me go to porters. Let me go to stouts. Let me try fancier stuff, and then I'll digress. So you view it as a hierarchy of
Yeah.
like almost morally superior.
So here's
I
actually
picture a guy with a blazer.
really okay.
Or-
that's
but
interesting.
you tell me.
Like
Yeah.
jeans. Blazer and
Yeah,
like some jeans.
California. What is it called?
Maybe like
California casual.
I fly often on Alaska Air for work. but
That's
coach.
pretty good. Yeah. That's good. So yeah. So I'm
Are we
gonna
helping you?
no. I'm gonna relate it to though. I see in the image that's coming to my mind of a person who drinks a porter is like 45 to 55-year-old female, heavy set, like kind of like no seriously. See, hear me out. Kind of like poofy-ish hair.
So
With
specific.
maybe horn-rimmed glasses,
Horn rim.
and then has a small lapdog.
Okay.
But then goes to craft beer place with her husband, who
looks gay.
who pretends to know about craft beer but doesn't actually.
Okay.
And it sounds
You know
like,
what I mean? Like that
Tell me
baby
about
boomer.
tell me about what the
who's
couple
like,
does in their free time when they're not going to festivals.
No, not festivals. Just they
like
it's
the craft beer, whatever. They go to the brewery or they go to the beer festival.
Yeah.
And she orders a porter and he dilly dallies.
she orders a porter while he talks at someone else about how much he knows about craft beer.
Right.
And
I
she's
picture-
just kind of there
do they
drinking
go,
a porter.
Do they go like antiquing on the weekends and?
No.
She does, he doesn't. He watches college football.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And
Roots
Moses
for,
Lawn.
roots for a school that he didn't go to.
Roots for school, a big southern school
And
that
it
he didn't
changes
go
every
to.
5 years depending
Exactly,
on who's really
who's doing
good.
well.
I've been a Bama fan for 4 years.
Exactly, yeah. And she's like reading Better Homes and Gardens while doing her nails or something, or like she's at the salon with her other heavy-set girlfriends.
Wow.
And then she talks on the phone a lot. She's always on the phone with someone.
Corded phone.
Her
that's
sister,
still
her friend.
attached to the wall.
Exactly. That's the person in my mind who drinks porter. And the reason I say it's similar is
If you're
because
out there
it's
drinking a porter right now, you just
And
got.
you're not 45 to 55? Cut it.
you,
Put that
you
porter
are
down.
put on notice.
I'm just saying
Right now.
it's similar in that it's like that person who like doesn't really want to actually go further into it, but is kind of like there based on outside influences. Like, she's there because, you know, she's got nothing else to do, and her husband wants to go drink a craft beer and talk someone's ear off. You know, and then the coach is, or the guy, you know, wearing the blazer and the jeans is like, well, I've got to fly on this business trip, you know,
I'm
in
starting
coach
to get
because,
a picture, actually.
and so it's like, I'm gonna just get a porter because that makes me look like I know my shit, but I actually don't have the time.
Let me just
like
add one more detail
You know what I mean?
to this already nonsensical specific painting of this lady.
Totally.
She buys her whole family's clothes for the summer or for the year even at Old Navy in one trip.
Yeah.
She loads up.
Yeah.
I worked at the fitting room at Old Navy, and I have seen the porter.
did.
Yeah, when I was 15.
You've seen the porter
I've
drinkers.
seen the porter.
Yeah.
You did
I've
too?
done the same thing.
Yeah, man. When I was
knew
in,
we had a
I was in
connection.
Vancouver, Washington, and that
I
Old
knew it,
Navy's,
from
that Old
somewhere.
Navy's still there. There at the time there was
Yeah.
there was 75 employees. 2 were guys.
Yeah.
And
It was heaven for a
I
young
was
man.
the same. I was in the same boat. I think it was me and my buddy Gage.
It was.
That was it, and we owned. It was
So you
great.
know,
Where else
you
would I
know
wanna
the porter
be?
drinker type.
And
Yeah.
I worked in the
Is that
so
recording?
Yeah, it's got 5
It's
minutes.
recorded.
5 minutes left.
Sweet,
before
okay,
it
cool.
bounces down.
Cool.
But yeah, I
Sorry
hung
about
out with the porter drinkers in the fitting room, and then we got 4% on recording. So let's get this drink
All right, we
done.
have this final drink here.
Sweet. All right. This is the
Is this the stout?
no. This is a Belgian strong dark ale. I think it's a strong.
Before we dive into this, I do want to know what's the difference between a stout and a porter.
So the name stout literally means it's a stout porter.
Okay.
So it's just
okay,
bigger.
okay,
yeah, that's
okay.
where the name was
It's just
derived
a more
from.
intense.
It's a more intense porter.
It's a pale ale versus an IPA. But on the
Exactly.
porter
Yes.
side.
Yes. 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 That's a
All
great
right,
way of describing
pull one
it.
of these, and I'm ready to throw up.
Yeah.
I can't think of a good redeeming quality of that. To me, it tastes like you had a drink, and then somebody put charred wood from a campfire in it.
See, that blows my mind that you like love the last one, or not the. I think
The brown
it's-
ale was
yeah.
good.
And you don't like. I feel like these two are very similar.
Yeah.
This is a little more intense.
I don't
But I
remember
feel like
if
they're
I
like
loved
the
the last
same beer, but just you add a little more coffee.
Something's
into it.
like burnt on that.
Yeah. So it's so yeah. So
That's true. I do have that. I know what you're
that
talking about.
burnt taste.
There's
Yeah.
a burnt aftertaste.
So that's from the roast. So you're gonna put roast malt or black malt or midnight something, midnight wheat sometimes. Basically, you're gonna put a dark roasted malt into both of these beers, but then this one you switch up the yeast. It's gonna be more alcoholic considerably, and it's that flavor that you don't like.
Yeah.
Is the yeast strain versus that one. So you're
Okay.
using 2 different yeast strains.
So let's
which
get to-
gives it the subtle, like the banana clove that we had in that barley wine. It's going to be a similar-ish. I mean, like you're going to pick a yeast that produces that banana, that clove. It's a very Belgian style.
We're running out of time on all devices. So this was called what again?
It's a Belgian dark
ale.
strong ale. Yeah,
Okay. So with that,
Yeah.
speaking of roast, let's roast the person who ordered this.
love roast. Yeah.
I don't want to know them.
I don't either, honestly.
So yeah, no, I mean this is the
By name.
Yeah. This is the beer for no.
Wants to roast.
I'm trying to get that meme out of him.
There we
We're
go.
gonna use up
Oh,
all
okay,
of our
it's
last
alright.
time. Just
No, so
saying,
this is the
Sam.
beer. This is the beer for. This is the beer for craft beer drinkers because there is a lot of, or like the snob.
The
snob.
refined palate.
The
You
snob.
wouldn't understand.
Exactly.
You don't
because-
like it because you're not refined.
Yeah.
Like they're sitting there reading a book, smoking a cigar as
Yeah.
they.
But actually, not that classy. No, this is the beer for like the kind of the fat guy with the ponytail that drinks way too much and then like actually goes on the blogs and then
For 10
comments on
years,
shit.
me.
Or blogger about.
Me in 10
No,
years.
because you wouldn't let
Grow a
people know.
ponytail?
Exactly. Yeah, oh God, I hope not. But like you wouldn't let people know about it. You know, it's like, oh, I'm so smart because I've done this. I'm gonna tell you how smart I am. Like this is the beer that it's like, I'm smart. I'm gonna tell you how smart I am.
To me, you just described the comic book guy in The Simpsons.
Yes.
If that was a beer,
Exactly.
that would
Yeah.
be the beer he would drink.
Yeah.
If you made money enough to buy a craft beer.
That's
All
right,
Let's,
exactly.
let's do a bit of a lightning round. I'm going to
Okay.
describe a person.
Okay.
You order the beer.
Perfect. Go.
Okay. I use Snapchat every day. I'm 24 years old. I'm a female, and I work at a nightclub.
No, the beer.
You literally just described
The beer.
I know that. What's the point? You're supposed to order the
I'm
beer.
gonna get a sour, grapefruit sour.
Grapefruit sour.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
I'm 27. I've been down on my luck, but I just came into a big windfall, so I'm gonna go buy a really nice beer. I like to snowboard, and I drive a Toyota.
Ah, okay. That's gonna be a pale ale.
Pale ale.
Yeah.
All right. Next is the same guy, but I've brought a group of 4 guys to order beer. Does that change?
It definitely changes it. Definitely bumps it up to an IPA, but maybe like a non-standard IPA. So a very specific IPA as like a double, or like one that claims to be like a Northwest style IPA, or yeah.
All right, final one. 55 years old. I'm a lady. I'm an accountant, but I'm going to a bachelorette party. Order the beer.
Accountant Bachelorette. That's going to be a wheat beer with fruit.
Wheat beer with fruit.
Yeah.
I have one lightning round as well.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let's pause this and then do another round of the video.
Okay. Lightning round.
Lightning round continued.
Part 2.
Okay.
What is, if you had to pick desert island beer, you would
That's a
have
great
one
question.
beer. What's your beer? Here?
Okay, I'll start here because I know what it is. I'm gonna give a huge shout out to Anchorage Brewing because they made a. God, I hope I get it right, but it's a double IPA brewed with mosaic hops, Brettanomyces aged in French oak barrels that had French white wine in it beforehand.
What's mosaic hops?
It's just a hop style. Very well balanced, well-rounded hop. You can
Is
use
it
it pretty much
There's
anything.
a lot to
Strand?
that drink.
It's just a species, yeah. So you have mosaic,
And you know what
citra,
it's called?
cascade.
Is strand the right word? Is it like the same?
It's the same
I think
idea,
it
yeah.
is, right?
No, yeah,
Like
'cause-
hops
yeah.
and marijuana are like in the
They're
same family.
they're cousin species,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that would be
Yeah,
it's
it's
a strand, yeah.
All right,
So
so
then
you
that's
know the
one.
name of it?
Yeah, it's their bitter monk.
Bitter Monk.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Mosaic.
For me,
Dry hopped with mosaic.
boy, can I switch over to a cider? Or do I have to pick a
You
beer?
can do whatever you want, yeah. I mean,
Honestly, I would take a cider and I would just take the middle of the road, like
semi-dry,
Red's apple
semi-sweet.
ale,
Really?
Yeah.
Red's an
Red's.
apple ale. Yeah.
or Angry Orchard, like a dry apple cider.
jeez, Rich.
Basic.
I'm picking it out.
Wow.
There actually is a drink. I'll go like way far on the end of like hipsteriness. But you go first. We're at 1%. What's your beer?
I have the Elysian Dayglow. It's got the
Dayglow,
tiger
yeah.
on the cover. It's like got this. The can is what originally won me over. I was like, that's
Yeah.
the coolest can I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's
And
a great beer,
also
too.
my favorite beer.
Yeah.
It's great.
There's an apple cider that's brewed brewed maybe it's not even the right word, bottled at least in Nepal.
Brewed.
And I only ever found it available in Nepal. It's a green apple cider, and there's a funny story because I ordered it. It was right next to like Fanta and Sprite and stuff in the fridge. No one ID'd me for it, and I was drinking it on like a trip where I had signed an agreement I wouldn't drink, and I was sharing it with a bunch of Mormon friends who were on the trip who had likely never drank alcohol in their life, and someone looks at it and says, "That drink's alcoholic. Like what are you doing?" And I look, "Oh, you're right." And so I had to disclose to everybody like, "I think I might have made you drink alcohol."
You didn't make them do anything.
You know
Oh,
what?
there you go.
They were no worse for the wear, and it was a good life experience.
So, and rather than dumping it out, I just I walked over to another corner and finished drinking it by myself.
Smart.
Because it was delicious.
Chooky Pete.